Welcome to the 2B.2 Telling Time note set. In French, there are two questions that people use to ask what time it is. Quelle heure est-il is probably the most common. Est-ce que vous avez l'heure is a little more formal, but you'll also hear people use it also. In step A, we're using the word heure to tell the time on the hour. You use the singular form of this word heure for 1 o'clock because 1 is singular. For 6 o'clock, il est 6 heures, with the S. For 11 o'clock, il est 11 heures, with the S. For 1 o'clock, il est 1 heure. In addition to this being singular, you also now have to spell out the word une. In section B, this deals with the minutes 1 to 29. You simply add them to the time expression, but the exception here is not 15 minutes. There's a separate expression for that. For 6:10, you have il est 6 heures, and then the 10 is just added to the end. You don't have to spell anything out. For 1 o'clock, you do have to spell out the une, but you do not have to spell out the 26. So il est 1 heure, no S there, and 26. For 5:04, il est 5 heures, 4. The S is back. The 15, which was the exception on the previous slide, is a quart. You say that it's 15 minutes past the hour or after. For 5:15, il est 5 heures, the regular 5 o'clock time expression, and then you add the a quart. You add the a quart for any hour where the minute is 15. In section D, this is how you do the 30 or half past the hour. Use a demi to say that it's 30 minutes past the hour. The example here is 4:30, il est 4 heures et demie. You can add a demi to any hour to have it be the 30 in your minutes. In section E, we're going to the slightly more challenging, only because it has two steps, how to do the minutes between 31 to 59. For English speakers, this is not a natural thing because we're used to doing it more with a digital time. However, in French, when going from a digital time in English to a French sentence, and the exception here is 45 minutes after the hour, there are two steps. First, you add an hour, and then you subtract the minutes from 60. The first thing that you have to check in any time-telling expression is the minute greater than 30. If the answer is yes, then you have to go through this two-step process when you do the French sentence. So 7:47, instead of looking like 7:47, it looks like 13 minutes until 8. So literally, it is 8 o'clock minus 13 minutes. For 6:32, same thing. Are the minutes greater than 30? Yes. So instead of 6:32, you have what looks like 7 and then minus 28 minutes. So 28 minutes to 7. You can do this for any minute that has, it's greater than 30, except for the 45. So section F shows you that. It's still the same two-step process. Is the minute greater than 30? Yes. So yes, you do add the hour as in step E, but instead of subtracting and writing something about a 15, you use minus the quarter, literally. You use the preposition à, meaning at or to say at what time something happens. To say Céline works at 6:40, you see the section given here. If you say you're taking a test at 1 o'clock, you see the section here. The à is by itself, and it has an accent grave. AM and PM don't exist in French. Instead of two sections, that one is AM and one is PM, you're dividing it down into three parts. So if it's something happens in the morning, it's du matin, which happens very specifically between these hours. If it's in the afternoon, which happens very specifically between these hours, the entire expression is de l'après-midi. And if something happens evening or night, there is really no equivalent of evening in French. You say du soir, which happens between these hours. Section I shows you what about the 12s. If it's 12 o'clock on the dot, you say il est midi for noon. you say il est minuit for midnight. However, for any other expression using 12, you simply use the number 12. You never use the word midi and minuit if you have minutes. So 12:10, il est 12h10. If it was 12:30, you would say il est 12h30, and so on. More time vocab that the book presents. It shows up in some of the exercises in the workbook and also in the textbook. À quelle heure means at what time. En avance is one of the expressions that means early. En retard is one of the expressions that means late. Pile is the pronunciation for something that happens on the dot. For example, 3 o'clock on the dot is il est 3 heures pile. You put it after. Presque is almost if you're doing an approximate time. Vers is about, which is also to show an approximate time. Tard by itself is another way to say late, and tôt is another word to say early. The military time, 24-hour clock, you hear it called different things. It's often used to express official time. Official time are things like departure times, movie times, store hours, train schedules, plane schedules, bus schedules, anything like that. It's all done in the 24-hour clock in Europe in general. So if you had the equivalent of the train arrives at 17h06, so 17 o'clock and 6 minutes, what you do is you subtract the 12 from the 17 to get 5:06, and then it's understood in English that this is PM. You would have to add that because you don't use that in the French expression. To say the film is at 22 hours and 37 minutes, you then subtract 22 minus 12, you end up with 10. The 37 stays, and then the PM is added because this would be something that would be a PM time in English. If you're looking at this as the reteach video, chances are you've probably already done these problems in your spiral when you took the notes. And if you want to do them again and show me, I can help you with anything that you are having problems with. This is the end of the note set.